Today we're going to talk about what happens when you get arrested, and I'm going to give you some tips to survive the experience. There's a lot of domestic abuse cases that get brought up years later. So I thought it would be a good idea to give you some tips, if I could speak, to survive it. If you're interested, stick around for the next part of the video. I'm going to give you lots of tips to survive getting arrested. Hopefully you'll never get arrested, but I can't believe how many domestic abuse cases I'm getting. So I think this is information that everyone should know. Okay, so let's get started. If you're new to my channel, my name is Karen Cole. I'm from Legal Minded Friends, and I am a lawyer in England and Wales. In my previous career, about 30 years ago, I was a parole officer, and here's my little badge from many years ago in Canada. And I'd like to read you the reference letter that my boss in Correctional Services sent to England so that I could get work here. So here it goes. To whom it may concern, Karen has been a parole officer with the Correctional Services Canada for 4 years. Her energy and enthusiasm has been of considerable benefit to the London Community Parole Project. After completing an extensive training program, she has proved reliable and conscientious in carrying out her assigned duties, particularly with respect to completing post-sentencing reports and pre-sentencing release investigations. Karen has demonstrated a keen interest in the criminal justice system. Her experience, commitment, and high level of motivation would be a definite asset to any employer who would benefit from her diversity. So the reason I read that to you is because when I was a parole officer, I would read the police reports. And guess who else reads the police reports? The courts. So you want to make sure you're acting commendable, and whatever the police write in the report is going to be, pretty much just the evidence, because if your behavior is really good, then you're more likely to have a more favorable report. And the courts will, when they read the reports and they see that you were cooperative, that you listened, that's going to go a long way in your character, because the court also looks at your character when they are sentencing. Before we get into all the points I want to tell you, I thought it would be a little fun to do something else first. Some of you may know about this, but I thought we'd have a bit of fun and ask Google something. So when you want to ask Google something, there is this little button right there. See the microphone? You just push the microphone and you can ask any question you want and they talk to you. So, what does the phrase mean, what a tangled web we've weaved?
According to No Sweat Shakespeare, oh what a tangled web we weave, when first we practice to deceive, means that when you lie or act dishonestly you are initiating problems and a domino structure of complications which eventually run out of control.
So who needs Siri when you have Google? Anyway, the tips that I'm going to give you are all about that, staying in control, and the tips are not going to be in any order of importance. Just like if you're making a list to go away, you want to make sure you bring all the things you need to bring. If you're going on a road trip, you might want to check your tires, your oil, but it's not really, there's no real importance of which one you do first. You need to do them all. So Let's get started with tips you should keep in mind. Okay, one tip is that you could be arrested at any time, anywhere. For example, it might surprise you, but you could be arrested even at your workplace. How embarrassing and shocking would that be? And because of this, you may not be in the best frame of mind. So take notice of the police officer's epipets. That is their identifying officer number. It is a unique number to them, and you will see it on the flap of their shoulders called a collar number. This will be important if you want to make a complaint later if you feel you were mistreated at any time, as you are not likely to remember their names. Another tip, you will be brought to a local police station in the area that you have been arrested in. Once you arrive at the local police station, you could be held longer than you think. For example, if you're arrested on a weekend, there could be longer delays. Or if you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol, you cannot be questioned until you are sober. So there are various reasons that you could have long waiting times or even held overnight. I have left a link below if you want to know more detail on how long they can keep you for. Another tip is if the police ask for your name and address, you should give it because you could be charged for not giving it. Another tip is when you are arrested, this does not mean you have been charged yet. If the police need to do further investigations, they could release you with bail conditions. For example, if your partner made domestic abuse allegations, bail conditions for releasing you could be not to make any contact directly or indirectly with the partner that made the complaint. The question I get very often is, what if that other person tries to contact me? My response is the bail conditions are your responsibility to obey. So be careful not to be fooled or tricked. The police would have told them, the other person, that you'll be on bail with no contact directly or indirectly with them until the bail conditions have been lifted. So breaking bail conditions will have consequences. For example, you may be brought before a judge or a magistrate who could decide to remand you into custody. Another tip is future employment opportunities could be limited if you have a police criminal record. If you are currently employed, then make sure you check your employment contract. Even if you have not been charged or convicted of a criminal offense, you may be required to let your employer know. And for occupations that require common law police disclosures, the police can inform your employer if they arrest you or charge you with a crime, if they have reason to believe there is a risk to public protection. So keep that in mind. So once you're booked into the police station, this is a really good tip. You will be asked if you want a solicitor or a legal representative. You will have a choice to have a solicitor that's on duty, and that's known as a duty solicitor. These solicitors are free because they are on duty. They can be there lickety-split. They're independent, so you can trust them to provide you with sound information. You can also see a list of firms that are local to your area who are legally aided criminal solicitors, which also means they are free. If you ask for your own solicitor, and your solicitor does not have a contract with the legal aid scheme, you will have to pay their fees out of your own pocket. And this could mean you are waiting longer for them to arrive, so keep that in mind. In just a minute, I'm going to give you what the caution is that the police say to you before you question. But at this stage, I do not suggest representing yourself, even if you are experienced in law, as duty solicitors are there to explain your immediate choices and help you to understand the allegations and potential options open to the police. So before the police caution you, you will be given a caution of your rights. This is different to getting a caution or a warning for minor offenses. Basically those are for first-time offenders, but a duty solicitor will be able to tell you if that is an option open to the police. You might notice that that term of caution and warning is interchangeable. So another good tip is if English is not your first language, do ask for an interpreter. The reason police read you a caution before questioning is because you have been suspected of a crime, and I'm going to test your current knowledge to see if you can guess which caution the police in England and Wales will say to you. You can leave a comment if you guessed right. So are you ready? Here goes. Caution number 1. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you. Do you understand the rights I have just read to you? With these rights in mind, do you want to speak to me? And are you ready for the second one? You have the right to get legal advice. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defense if you do not mention when questioned something which later you rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. So, did you guess the right one? In America, they use the word attorney. And something you might find interesting is that recently the Supreme Court made a decision in June 2022, and they ruled that if suspects are not warned about their right to remain silent, they cannot later sue the police. Another interesting thing you might find different is that we use the word the words you're being put under caution, and they call it Miranda Rights. And Miranda was a chap who confessed to a crime that he hadn't done. And the American Civil Liberties Union took up his case, claiming that his confession was false and coerced. So hence, remaining silent should not be held against you when questioned by the police. Now, there is a difference in the wording with the UK one, which was number 2, and I will explain a little bit of what that means. So, okay, so this will be my last tip for you before ending, because there is a slight difference in the way our cautions are read to you in the UK, and where it says, it will harm your defense if you later rely on a question you were asked that you did not answer when being questioned. It could harm your defense. And the reason for this is because in a trial, the fact finder is the judge or a jury. And they can put weight on the fact that a person did not answer something that they ought to have known, to have reasonably known. Because you could be making it up along the way. However, because you have the right to remain silent, you shouldn't be answering questions that you don't know the answer to. So you shouldn't, just make them up. And a person should not be convicted of an offense solely on refusing to answer, as that does not prove guilt. The prosecutor still has the onus and the burden of proof to prove their case. So I hope that helps everyone. Well, that ends today's video. Thank you for watching, and please like and share. Hit the subscribe button, as it does help this channel grow. Remember, information is power. Why not check out our other videos? Contact Legal Mind Friends if you have a legal worry, and if you need to take someone to court, or if you need to defend a case that's been filed against you, then contact us. Please like this video. please share this video, as you never know who you can help. Subscribe free on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. Thank you.